Alright, welcome to the all-new BT23 Jesmon deck gameplay, guys. So this time I'm taking a very different approach compared to how I was playing it in BT 2.5, which is not too long ago. But with all the new support, I'm trying to go for the traditional red stack based version along with Sistermons. So there's no Gankumons here at all whatsoever, and I'm just trying to show you guys the explosiveness and the OTK potential that this deck has, which is absolutely insane with the amount of damage it can dish out of nowhere. So generally, we're just trying to play a lot of our search options and grab our pieces and find what we need in order to climb up into our line. And we're facing off against Digimon, which is definitely a very strong deck, which generally this deck has quite a tough matchup against just because of how aggressive they are. And sometimes when it comes to comboing, you might end up alliancing and chunking a bunch of their security, which is going to give them a lot of tamers and boosts to work with, which is a lot of value for them. And once they're able to find their pieces, they can start looping and basically finish us off and clear our board as we don't get a chance at all. But in the meantime, in this current game, we're able to sort of like search from each other's side a little bit by bit. The opponent wasn't really able to establish their tamers out at the moment. They still need to find their pieces. They're chipping away at our security, which is actually helpful for us. But the other thing I was going to show you guys is that what we can do is, instead of just chunking down 3 security and then passing turn, we can just outright OTK them so that they don't have a chance at all. So that's kind of what you want to try your best to set up in this particular matchup. And you guys can see I'm just like searching back to back, giving the opponent as little memory to work with as possible, just because they do need at least 4 memory to get into Digimon. So they're going to be digivolving with a level 4 here in the back, but in the next turn, we know, and I had a feeling that they're going to be ready to go, which is going to be relatively scary, because at the end of the day, that even though they don't have the tamers outside on the board, if they're able to play them out from their hand for free, they still get to execute that combo. So what we're going to do here is we're going to cash out on all of our delays to try to go into this huckmon, which is the most ideal one to help us climb up even more efficiently. And then by having that previous huckmon set up from the previous turn, which absolutely amazing card because it can help you get effectively 2 hits, and when you do get your 2 hits, you're getting a lot of value. But I'm going to digivolve into the other huckmon, which is from the BT20, so that I can play out the Sistermons Blanc for free, and by doing so I can gain memory back and trash cards away from my hand to draw 2 cards and continue cycling. And this is the moment where I've pretty much gathered all the pieces that I need. So by playing out that Sistermons Blanc, which you guys saw earlier, for reduced cost, or even as a matter of fact for free, the BT13 huckmon is now going to let me go into Savior Huckmon for 1 cost. Now I just got to find a way to pass turn, and the way I want to do it is, again, to give the opponent as little memory as possible. And by having the Master to Disciple option, this is fantastic because now I can put the opponent to 1. But hold on a second. What I'm actually going to do is going to use the end of turn effect of Savior Huck to suspend my Blanc so that I can now digivolve into the new Jesmon for free. By doing so, I would then play out the Sistermons Niow, which is from BT6, to gain a memory and also gain additional memory from huckmon. With that, I'm going to be able to keep my turn so that I can continue to combo off in the following if I need to. I'm going to find and see a way I can try and do as much damage as possible, but I think I do see an OTK line right here. I quickly checked over if I needed to get into Jesmon X-Antibody, but generally I think Digimon doesn't really have a lot of like removal options unless they're playing like the slightly more controlled variant with all the different like Hudia specific options that can remove you. But we're just going to go ahead and chunk down 3 security, playing out the Athorone and Poor token as well. So we go for 3 checks, alliancing with Jesmon itself, and also alliancing once more with Savior Huckmon's Inherit effect. And this is where Chimeramon comes in clutch, because I just absolutely love this card in this deck, because by doing so, we can then DNA, and by DNA, we get to reset all of our Inherit effects and then make sure to tuck a Huckmon that can help me gain a memory back. So by going into a second Jesmon, I'm going to play out Sistermons Niow once again from BT6, gain 1 memory off its own effect, gain another 2 from my Inherit effects, and alliance for 2 more checks. And you guys can see if it goes through safely, I have Omni X to finish the game off, and there's nothing that could stop us with this security. Next game, we're facing off against Royal Base which did get quite a bit of like new decent support in BT23 as well, in the form of like Tiger Vespamon Ace and everything. We are going second, and I decided to keep this hand just because I have rookies, I have search cards to work with, and being able to go second as this deck is not too bad at all as well. Just being able to get that extra draw. We really want to take our time and sort of like set up and sort of like respond to the opponent's memory on their side to try to give them, again, as little as possible, and being really memory efficient with for Master Disciple is just fantastic, having the 2 costs. Otherwise we have 3 cost cards that we can play instead as well to juggle between the memory gauge if we ever need to. And one of the best things about for Master Disciple is just being able to trash the rest of the cards, is that whenever we reveal the other Sistermons, it gives us access to actually play them out when we get into a Jesmon later on by having them in the trash. The opponent does come out early with a Forged Beamon right here, so I was just double checking if they have any form of protection, but the protection only applies for another Royal Base Digimon, so I felt like this could be punishable. Just because this is the only rare occasions I would actually push out this early and try to interact with their board right away. Just because I felt like, okay, if I get rid of that level 4, I can then like at least like force them to rebuild all over again, gather momentum, and I have something I can work with on the outside, which they do have a second rookie. But then this, I think this kind of like slows them down greatly. And whoa, here comes down a crazy Tiger Vespamon hard play just like that, and putting a security there face up and then balancing us to hand, which tells me then, yeah, they're either bricked, they don't have any other play right here, which is going to be unfortunate, but then this is where we can capitalize and try to take our advantage to reclimb all over again. I'm going to Digivolve into the new huckmon at the back so I can utilize its inherent effect to gain a memory, and then I'm going to Digivolve into the BT23 Bauhuck, so I'm ready to go. Once I push out, I don't have to pay that memory to Digivolve into it later on, but saving it there so that once I play out my Sistermon later, I can go into Savior Huck as well. I have quite a lot of memory to work with. I was contemplating of whether using the boost or not. I was like, maybe could I try to get rid of this Tiger Vespamon? The thing is, I actually couldn't, not in this particular moment, because I don't have all the pieces that I need just quite yet. So in the end, I just went for the red memory boost to search, grabbing the Omni X, and now finishing off with the huckmon to grab my 2 other pieces, which I am playing Sistermon Awaken as well, CL specifically. And it's just incredibly good. Like being able to go through the top 5 cards of the deck and now being able to grab like 2 of anything is just fantastic because it helps you hit the exact searches that you need. The opponent now is going to go into their Waspmon. This time, they don't really have a whole lot of memory. They do have 3 face-up securities, but I kind of doubt they would try to attack into us with Tiger Vespamon just because they don't have enough damage to finish us off. They're going to be able to maximum go for like 4 hits. And then we still have like 1 security left, and they still have to find a way to do 2 more hits, which is not going to finish and accomplish their goal. So I feel like this is a good position to push out now because of all the momentum we've been able to gather. Once again, I always like to Digivolve the Bauhuckmon on the side, the BT21 first, the one from BT20 first, and then use its reduction effect to play out Sistermon CL, which effectively is like for free because we're going to be gaining memory. And then now we can go into Savior Huck for 1 cost as well. And then we can just find a way to sort of like pass the turn at like giving the opponent again 1 memory, just like from the previous game, or how we want to manipulate the memory gauge that way, go into the end of turn, do our end of turn effects as well, and again find a way to deal with this Tiger Vespamon. Now mind you that they do have blocker because they have a level 5 Cannon Beamon, I believe, in security, and also the extra 2k buffs. So being able to have to play around that, yeah, I mean they might want to block or may not, but I definitely want to prevent them from blocking, and that's what actually Sistermon CL Awaken gives us. So I was trying to find ways on how to like pass turn, but I decided to go into Savior Huck in the end, the one from BT20, but I also contemplated going into the one from BT6 as well. But the nice thing is being able to utilize this new Sistermon CL, I'm going to use the end of turn of my Savior Huckmon on the very left to suspend that CL and then Digivolve into Jesmon for free. And by doing so, I de-Digivolve the Cannon Beamon that they have, so it allows me to play around the Tiger Vespamon Ace if they have another one in their hand. Generally, I feel like some decks play like 3 or even a 4 of, so being able to do that is going to be really, really critical because we don't want them to end up bouncing cards from my hand, and we want to go for a massive tempo turn here. Just again, go straight to the face, deal the damage as you need, don't be afraid. You know, we have to, because we have to pressure against the opponents, and that's what this whole deck is really all about at the end of the day. So we're going to play a bunch of Sistermons out and out here, being able to cycle and draw more cards, and also Alliance for like a ton of checks, going straight into the security, which gives them a lot of value. Like that's like 2 agility trainings and a Mimi. That means they're gonna start at 3 memory no matter what. So I just need to see like, okay, what's the best way to pass turn here? I feel like I can get rid of the Tiger Vespamon. Can I get rid of Waspmon? I feel like I could just clear out all the bodies. So I did have Omni X, so I might as well just go into it. And since it doesn't have protection anywhere, I'm just going to bottom deck the Tiger Vespermon, which will gain Ace Overflow for me. And then I can use the end of turn of Omni X to swing and then raid into Tiger Vespermon as well. At the end of the turn, Sistermons Awaken has to go back into security. So before we actually finish like resolving the attack, we have to resolve all the other effects that we have. So I'm going to use Savior Huck's end of turn as well to suspend, Digivolve into second Jesmon, just to try to generate as much value as I can on the board. And then now finally swing over it, piercing for the 2 damage and passing the opponent to 3 memory. But they're just in their hatching turn. There's just absolutely nothing they can do now. They're not going to be able to defend themselves anyways. We have such an insane wide board either way too. We're just going to finish them off just like that. Next game, we're facing off against Dulohamon, which is also known as Necromon, Ghostmon, along with Violet Imboots from the Liberator trade deck, which again got a whole new round of support, which is incredibly strong with a whole new level 7 alongside with the unique emblem option card together. So we're going to see how this kind of goes because both our decks are relatively aggressive. I feel like they also have a really strong combo in like chunking down our security, setting up for next turn, and then going for lethal. But I think the only difference is that we might have the upper hand a little bit because we have OTK power, which is way stronger and that can actually wipe them out. But if they're able to gather enough momentum and tempo, they should be able to actually get their initial checks in and then finish us off in the second turn if, you know, depending on how sort of like the game swings back and forth. Just like before, I'm just trying to Digivolve as much as I can in the back, you know, just get it set up and just find my pieces, grab stuff that I need. Once again, I absolutely love this new Huckmon just because I can grab a Huckmon within the line or Sistermon, as well as a card with Royal Knight trait, which from Master Disciple has that trait and allows me to further search as well. So this is really fantastic. And now being able to grab the Savior Huckmon, trashing away a Sistermon CL from BT6 is also going to help out later on because we can play it back from the trash too. So the opponent is going to continue to like play out a Bakemon right here. So it looks like maybe, I wonder why they don't Digivolve in the back. I mean, they could have just like forgo the cost reduction, but maybe they want to go for more aggressive momentum play. Or maybe perhaps they want to find a way to get this Bakemon in trash. I'm not too sure, but they finally ready to push out here. So this can get scary, but with 1 memory, I'm not entirely sure how much they can really do there. They swing with the Bakemon and then have it deleted, which they ran into our Savior Huckmon, which I see their intention now is to help them climb into a Phantommon for cost reduction alongside with the Ghostmon, and they can warp like that. And then they can possibly go into like a level 6 and try to like go for execution plays. Now the thing is they can't really use Violet there just because Phantommon's effect to warp is its own effect and Violet is also a separate effect that tells you to Digivolve. So in the end they're going to go with the scramble to Digivolve into Necromon instead, which gets to delete one of our bodies, which I'm probably going to decoy with the Blanc either way, just so I can keep the Huckmon alive in case if I ever want to Digivolve into another Bao Huckmon if I get into one, right? You guys saw the combos from the previous 2 games, which generally the line, I like to go into the BT13 Bao Huck in the back or in the front eventually, or have it ready to go generally, and then go into the BT20 Bao Huck to play out my Sistermon for reduced cost, and then I can evo up the line pretty effectively like there. So it's like both playing outside and inside together to have that kind of setup. But either way, they're going to be able to delete themselves after the execution of the 2 checks, and they're also going to be able to gain a ton of memory to keep their turn, hatch an egg with Analog Youth, and go for a whole bunch of combo plays right here again. Now, once again, they haven't used their Violet yet, so they could Digivolve up all the way again if they need to. They grab the Ghostmon back off Demi-Meramon, so they do use the Violet here, which is going to go into Necromon for 2 cost, reducing it by 2, deleting our Huckmon on the side, and going for the final checks right there, putting us down to 0 security and only 1 memory to work with. But they did check into our sister's training gym, which I will then play out the CL to gain additional memory, so I have a bit more to work with afterwards. They are going to delete themselves afterwards, and then Phantommon's going to play out a level 4 lower, and with Necromon, they're going to be able to play out the Phantommon back. Now, the thing is, they're not going to be able to Digivolve the Rookie in the back because the sequences all those effects there, but this is the moment, because now they're pressuring lethal. Next turn, they're going to finish us off. I have to actually go aggressive. I went for a chip with Sistermon first because I see a line that I can still go for the OTK. So by doing so, I'm going to play out this Sistermon Blanc. I'm also going to preemptively pop mine for Master Disciple, now being able to gain that memory. Regardless if we grab the security or not, we still get to recover with the Blanc, which is really nice. Being able to now Digivolve into the Savior Huckmon, the old one, for reduced cost of 2, but also another additional reduced cost of 1 from Master the Disciple, so it's for free. Now I'm going to play out the other Sistermon block from BT23 to delete that Bakemon, just making sure there's no inheritables that gain memory, you know, because we want to be careful with that because I need every single memory I need to actually execute for this combo. Now, it's actually crazy because with that Sistermon training gym being hit in security really helped us there because now we can go into Jesmon for 3 costs and still keep turn. That is really important because I exhausted as many Sistermons I have on the board already. I cannot play out any other Sistermon blocks or whatever. The only thing I can play out is a potential CL Awaken if I have one, but I'm going to be able to unsuspend, swing 2 checks at a time, and check out all the 4 security and finish off with Omni X. The Twilight Angels playmat and dice is now live on the AVAULT store. Make sure to grab them along together with the collection so you get additional memory markers all together. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, whenever you are. See you in the next video, and this is AVAULT signing